Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Stitch Create Love podcast. My name is Lindsay and I'm coming to you from Cheshire in the northwest of the UK, where I live with my husband Stephen and our 4-year-old daughter Eloise. You can find me on Instagram at Stitch Create Love, all one word, and I'll pop that on the screen here somewhere, where I tend to post, excuse me, itchy nose, where I tend to post quite regularly, so crafting stuff, garden stuff, home stuff, mum stuff. So if you are on Instagram, pop over there. It would be lovely to have you join me. And very excitingly, I am pleased to say that as of yesterday, today is Friday the 19th of June, I should say. So as of yesterday, you can also find me on Etsy, and I will talk a little bit more about that later on, and I will pop details in the description box below. If you would like any more information about that, I'll talk about that later. I have got some notes here because I feel quite thrown together today. I have faffed around so much with the camera. I'm in my kind of semi-new setup here and I've just fiddled about a lot to get you at the right height. I hope you can see me okay, I hope you can hear me okay. And now I've completely lost my train of thought. Let's give you a welcome back, shall we? If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back for a little bit more rambling and crafty chat. It is lovely to have you back. I hope that you're well. I hope that you're managing to fit some knitting or sewing or whatever craft it is that you enjoy doing into your life, and that you are happy and healthy. And if you are a new viewer, then welcome. It's lovely to have you with me. You will find lots of crafty chatter, a few other random ramblings here as well. It's lovely to have you with me, and if you would like to leave a comment in the I was going to say in the description box below, that's not where you leave your comments, in the comment box section below, it would be lovely to hear from you. I had lots and lots of lovely comments and messages on Instagram as well, actually, after my last episode, and I do appreciate each and every one, and I do always try to reply to them as and when I can. It might take me a little while, but I think if you're good enough to take the time out of your busy lives to leave me a comment and interact with me, then the very least that I can do is acknowledge it, and I do try to reply to all of them. So before the rambling just becomes completely insane, let's have a look at what we're going to talk about today. I have a finished object to talk to you about, and then I'm going to talk about, I'm going to move my notes over here because then I'm not looking over there constantly, because we've already got the window as a distraction here. Yeah, so finished object, then I'm going to talk about whips and plans together today, because I haven't got an awful lot kind of on my needles that I'm actively working on at the moment, but I have lots of things that I really want to cast on. So I'll talk to you about whips and plans together. Sorry, interruption number 1. Just the way we're rolling around here at the moment, having a child at home. And if the camera's moved, I apologise because I knocked that over as well. So unprofessional. Anyway, where was I? Whips and plans. Then I'm going to announce the giveaway winner from the last episode of the excuse me, the lovely mitten pattern prize from lovely Karen. I'm going to talk to you about some yarn that I have treated myself to, just to kind of share the love for those incredibly talented yarn dyers, and then I'm going to share my very exciting shop news with you, because I've opened my Etsy shop, but I'm going to talk about that later. So without further ado, let's get on with finished objects. So the finished object that I have for you is my Hermione's Everyday Socks. Now, these are not on blockers because I've only got one pair of sock blockers, and I'm drying another pair of socks on them at the moment. So in fact, what I might do, which could get a little bit awkward, is I'm going to try and put one on my foot, and then you can have a look at it. So the pattern is, and now you can see my face incredibly close to the camera, not good. I have put a little bit of makeup on for you to try and make myself look a lot less horrific. Here we go. If I put my foot up, there we go. So my Hermione's Everyday Socks. Maybe if I stand up, is that better? Stand on here. Ooh, there we go. You can kind of see my socks. And then rather than, whoops, everything's falling apart here. Rather than clowning about and climbing everywhere, I will hold the other one up the right way around to show you. So these are the Hermione's Everyday Socks. It is a free pattern. You can get it on Ravelry by Erica Lueder. You would think that I'd have learned how to say her name by now, but I haven't, sorry. Dreams in Fibre. I think she is, but if you just search Hermione's Everyday Socks, then you will find these. And in fact, it's probably better that they're not on the blocker, because I can try and show you a little bit of the stitch pattern, which I suspect is probably a little bit easy to see on a more solid coloured yarn. But anyway, so I knit these out of, this was a mini that I don't know the name of or the dyer because it was just in an advent swap last year. This is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in the Foxglove colourway. And then this is also West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. But I said last time I thought it was called Forget Me Not. I don't think it is. I think it's called Cornflower. But I do have the ball band to show you. In fact, I'll go off at a tangent and I might just show you the whole thing at the moment. So it's, oops, ignoring what else is on here. There's the ball band. So those are the details there. It doesn't have a colourway name on here, but I think it is called Cornflower. This, incidentally, is something that I started when I first got back into knitting. Excuse me, and I called it my creative journal because I wanted it to be a record of projects that I did, and I've not kept up with it really. So I have little kind of note sections that I was going to put on there, and I've got two projects in here, one of which I completed and was lovely but a little bit big. Is this a free pattern? Yes, it is. See, I'm completely going off at a tangent here. But I knitted, obviously that's not me, I knitted Mary Margaret's Lace Tam after reading about it on Ali's podcast, Little Drops of Wonderful. I'll see if I can find that actually and show it to you at some point. And then I printed out the pattern and put it on here, and then I wrote some notes along the lines of what I learnt. And then I left a page to put a picture of the finished hat, and then never got round to, just typical, isn't it, putting it in. And then I also did start my favourite vanilla socks at one point by the Unapologetic Knitter, but frogged them because I made so many mistakes. But anyway, maybe I should try and get back to that, because it's, yeah, I did enjoy doing it. Anyway, back to the socks. Ramble. So yeah, I kind of wish I'd done the cuff in this colour as well, because I think somewhere along the way I was thinking that I'd have enough to do the cuff and the heel and the toe, or at least the cuff and the toe or something, and then I quickly realised that this was all I was going to get out of it. So, but you know, if you're wearing them and you know, they're underneath your trousers, actually mine's not, it's still halfway up my leg, then you're not going to see that anyway. And it has a lovely, I wonder if I can show you this, Eye of Partridge, let's turn my hand round, Eye of Partridge heel, which has been modified to have a bit of a garter stitch edge. I'm hoping you can kind of see that. Shall I block my face out? Does that? I try this all the time, it doesn't work, does it? But anyway, and I knit these on, I'm just going to take the other one off because that heel doesn't look the best. Let's see if that one's any better. I think it's probably because I've used smaller needles. Oh no, there you go, you can see it better on that one. So it is an Eye of Partridge heel with a garter stitch edge there. And I knit these on 2mm Knit Pro Novas, and I knit them two at a time because this is only the second pair of socks that I've completed, but second sock syndrome is definitely a thing. So I prefer to knit mine two at a time. So they are knit cuff down, and I think it's a 1 by 1 twisted rib. I seem to remember the pattern might not be a 1 by 1 twisted rib, but that's what I decided to do. And then you have a 4-row stitch pattern, which is really simple to remember, and it goes all the way around the leg of the sock. Then you have your heel flap, your eye of partridge heel, your gusset, and then on the foot you've got the stitch pattern on the top, and then it's just plain stocking stitch or stockinette stitch on the bottom. And and it's got a Kitchener toe. And it's, as I say, it's a free pattern, and I chose to knit these because it was kind of the next step on from vanilla socks, which is what I'd done before. And you know, it's a lovely pattern, there's nothing wrong with it, but in all honesty I probably wouldn't knit them again, because I didn't find that it had enough to kind of keep me interested. It has taken me absolutely ages to knit these socks. I cast them on in January and it's now the 19th of June, and it should not take 6 months to knit a pair of socks. I am a slow knitter, but I started off knitting them on really cheap plasticky economy needles that it just slowed me down, and it wasn't very pleasant. And since I got the Knit Pro Novas, it did become a lot more pleasurable to knit, because they're really lovely lightweight needles and the stitches kind of slide about on them a lot more easily. But having said that, I wouldn't knit it again. I would recommend it if you want a pattern that is going to go beyond vanilla socks and you want to try cuff down, and it's just to kind of practice your sock knitting skills really. And one thing that I'm really pleased with on these is, I think it's probably slightly better on that one. On the first pair of socks that I knit, I ended up with a hole here where I'd picked up my stitches, and in this pattern there is a little tip about how to make sure that that doesn't happen. And so although, I mean, it's still slightly messy here where I've picked up the stitches, because I just really do struggle with picking up stitches, and I'm sure it's something that I'll get better at as I knit more. But I think it does look really neat. What does the other side look like? I mean, it's less neat, but there is no hole, is what I'm saying. There isn't a kind of a visible hole there. And the same on the other sock there. So I'm pleased with those, and actually I'm really pleased with the fit. They fit really well. The first pair of socks that I knit on 2.25mm needles, and I just felt that they were a little bit too big everywhere. Not so much when I first finished them, but after I'd blocked them, because obviously, you know, celebrating finishing a sock by trying it on without blocking it, but after I'd blocked them I did feel that they were just a little bit baggy, and so I thought, well, you know, I could change my stitch count, but this was the same number of stitches, which was 64 stitches, so I thought, rather than fiddle about trying to, because it was just written for one size in the pattern, I thought rather than fiddle about trying to decrease stitches and stuff, I will just use smaller needles, so 2mm needles, and they fit really well. Lovely and snug, but not too tight. And I've worn them without shoes, because I like to wear socks in bed if it's quite cold, and I've also worn them with my Converse pumps, trainer type things, and yeah, really comfortable. So I'm very pleased with those. Like I said, I wouldn't knit it again, but I would definitely recommend the pattern, and it's free. So those are my Hermione's everyday socks. I'm just checking whether or not there's anything else I need to say to you about those. No, I don't think there is. So let's move on at, I was going to say at 10 minutes, but it's been longer than that because I've been interrupted. Ugh, stop waffling. Let's move on to whips and plan. Interruption number 2. We should have some sort of interruption bingo here, shouldn't we? This time it was my husband. If it's not your child, it's your husband, but he did make me a cup of coffee, which is very nice. And to be honest, I'm not normally, you don't need to know this, but I'm not normally a coffee drinker. But if you put some double cream in instead of milk, very nice. Anyway, we were going to move on to whips and plans. So that interruption has at least allowed me to get my sorry, there's a huge great big lorry outside my house, nothing to do with me, but you know, it's distracting. So anyway, it enabled me to get my whip out to show you, and it is living in my fairy bag that I made myself. And it, let's just take these things out of there. It's also got on it my pin, my Whatnot pin from my lovely friend Kathy, and this is also from Kathy, and it's a little gold kangaroo. Kathy, for those of you who don't know, is a yarn dyer and maker based in Australia. Oh, now there's another lorry out there. Is that something to do with me? Sorry, we are having some fencing delivered today, and I thought that might be it, and it wasn't. Anyway, let's get back to the point. So yes, in my bag, featuring my pins from lovely Kathy, is my... Let's just untangle this. This is the only problem with knitting 2 at a time socks, as I get in a terrible tangle. My Soul Sister socks now. I had not cast these on when I filmed my last podcast episode, and that was, I think it was, yes, just over 2 weeks ago. I think I filmed my last one on a Wednesday, and today is a Friday. And look how far I have got. They are toe up, and I've done the heel, and I am on the leg, and I honestly don't feel like I've got a huge amount more to knit on these. So having gone from the longest pair of socks to knit in the world, the quickest pair of socks to knit in the world. Yeah, so this is the Soul Sisters pattern, which I will show you here, just so that you can see. Soul Sisters socks, and it is by Jooles and Amy. Jooles, you will all know, I'm sure, is So Sweet Violet, and Amy is Tayloress Studio, although I think when they did this pattern she was Little Tayloress. But yeah, it's a paid for pattern on Ravelry, and they are toe up socks. Now, these have been a complete revelation for me, because I think part of the reason that I've found them so quick to knit is because they are toe up. So knitting cuff down, you have to start with the ribbing, and I absolutely hate ribbing. I know there are a lot of other people. It's just really slow, and then, you know, you're almost automatically starting your project off in a kind of, or I think I'm starting it off in a negative frame of mind, and it just feels laborious before you've even begun. But obviously you're starting the toe with fewer stitches, and then you're increasing, and so that the toe is just a much quicker process than the cuff. And then also the other thing that I think has kept this really nice and quick for me is changing yarn throughout. Now, the yarns that I am using in this project were gifted to me by my lovely friend Kathy, hence why I've got Kathy's pins on the bag that I'm using to house this project. She gifted these to me a little while ago, and she gifted another set for a giveaway, which I will talk about later. So it's got this shade here, which is a lovely kind of purpley blue, a mix of purples and blues, and there's even some kind of like almost purpley reddy pink colours in there as well, and I've decided that I'm going to use that for the toe and the cuff. And then so there were 5 minis in the set, and then I've used the minis to stripe the sock. And what I've done is I've started off, I played around with the minis and worked out the order of the kind of, not so much the fade, but the order that I wanted the tones of blue to go in. So the first one, I'm hoping you can see okay, because since I started recording it's actually started chucking it down with rain outside, so the light may not be that brilliant. So this one is kind of silvery, whitey, creamy colours, and then there's blues and purples thrown in there as well. Do you know what? I'm going to show you the yarns on the back, because I think you can see the colour of the yarns a lot better on the stockinette or the stocking stitch. Then this one, it does really fade quite nicely into this I want to say bluey purpley colour, but that's not really, it's more of a blue grey base, I would say, and then it has your purples and your pinky tones. Then this one, which is quite vibrant, this one reminds me of Frozen, which is my daughter's absolute favourite Disney film, so that's really lovely. And then this colour here is kind of like a, it's more of an ice blue, I would say, like an icy white blue, and that has got more pinks in. I think if I had to choose, that is definitely my favourite colourway from the set. That's a really lovely colour. I don't know whether Kathy does that as a standalone colour, but yeah, if she did, I'd definitely be knitting with more of that. And then what I've done is I'm just trying to think which order to talk to you about this in. What I've done is I've striped the colours, and then I've used all 4 colours here that are not going into the heel and into the toe and the cuff, and then I've gone back the other way again. So what I will do is I will knit with this colour again here, and then I will go with that colour again afterwards, and then that colour again afterwards, and then I will do the cuffs. So I'm not exactly sure quite how high up the leg these are going to go, but that's what I'm going to do. I am, however, currently playing a bit of yarn chicken. I think I will have enough. I've got another 6 rows to do on the leg before I change colour. It tells you in the pattern, and this is why I was saying what order shall I talk to you about this in, because I want to talk about the pattern itself as well, but it tells you in the pattern how many rows to do in each colour if you want to have even stripes. Sorry, noise from the other room. Sorry, you may still be able to hear her in there. She's telling me that we're going to have a party on Sunday. It's Father's Day on Sunday here in the UK, and she's just been outside, excuse me, she's just been outside into the office, it's our garage that we had converted into an office room, and chatting to my husband. So I think they're talking about Father's Day on Sunday. Anyway, what I was going to say is the pattern tells you how many rows to do before you change colour to make sure that you get even stripes. And because I wasn't going to use as many colours as were used in the sample that had been knitted up for the pattern, I basically doubled it. So I've got another 6 rows to do before I change colour, and I'm not sure that I'm going to have enough left here to do the 6 rows, but I think between the 2 I will, and if I run up a little bit short, it's fine, we'll just go with it. So that is the yarn from Lovely Kathy, and the pattern itself is really, really lovely. It is very well written, and this toe that is included in the pattern, Jooles calls her beanie toe, and there is a video tutorial included with the pattern that shows you how to do this. If I'm honest, this has nothing to do with the pattern and nothing to do with the tutorial, both of which were very clear, but I don't do very well with the type of increase that is used in the toe. I won't go into what it is because it's a paid for pattern, but I don't do very well with that, and I've managed it. Let's just see if I can pop my hand in here to kind of show you. I mean, it looks fine, but I did struggle with it a bit. Having said that, I've practiced it and practiced it and practiced it, so you know, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. So yeah, there's a tutorial for that, and there's also a video tutorial included with the pattern about how to weave your ends in as you go. So if I turn the sock inside out, you can see that as I've gone along, I've woven in my ends. So all I'm going to have to do when I finished is cut the threads off, because what has put me off doing scrappy socks before, I love the look of them, but it's put me off having to weave in the ends, so that's really good as well. The heel, Jooles calls her Go Day heel by virtue of the fact that you end up with this kind of triangle here, and for those of you that don't know, a Go Day is a triangular piece of fabric that you would, for example, insert into a skirt to produce a bit more fullness. So she calls it her Go Day heel. I think it's very, very similar to, I think it's called the Flegel heel, which I've never done, but I was having a look at different heels, the toe-up socks, and it looks very, very similar to that. I know she has played about with it and it's not exactly the same, but it is similar to that. And what's nice about it is that you don't have to pick up any stitches, which I don't like doing and I'm not very good at doing. So that was nice and easy to do, and you can see there excuse me, the kind of the shape of the heel. That's why I'm on my yarn chicken job here, because obviously I've used a bit more of that yarn in the heel. The one thing I would say, and I don't know whether this is a personal thing to me, excuse me, because I'm just not that experienced a knitter, is when I started, was it doing the heel or the heel turn? Let me just have a look at the pattern. Yeah. When I started doing the heel turn, there was one instruction that I just felt could have been slightly clearer. And I worked it out and I managed it, and I went with my kind of gut instinct. And if you are a kind of a seasoned sock knitter, then you will not struggle with it at all. And to be honest, I'm not a seasoned sock knicker, a seasoned sock knitter, and I still managed to work it out. But yeah, the pattern, I think everything else about it is really well written, really thorough, really good. The video tutorials are great. Had I been writing the pattern, I would have just written that instruction slightly differently, but that's just me being honest. That's not me saying anything, you know, negative about the pattern necessarily. It is a lovely pattern, and I think I would definitely be inclined to purchase more of Jooles's patterns because, yeah, it is so well written. And I think I'm probably going to stick with toe-up socks from now on. The other thing about, excuse me, sorry, I've just cleared my throat and had a proper drink. It always happens, doesn't it, when you want to record a podcast or when you want to talk at length, you end up with a tickle in your throat. What was I saying? Yes, the other good thing about the toe-up, so starting them off, I did start them off separately because I couldn't figure out how to work the toe two at a time. You all right?
Mummy, do you know where my ponytail stickers are that Claire gave me?
Are they in your drawer upstairs in your magazine? Go and have a look.
Oh, they won't be in there.
Well, go and have a look.
Oh, they can't be in there.
Well, they might be. Just go and have a little look, or they could be on your little table. All right.
Well, the little table's empty of stuff.
Or in the pile of stuff that you've thrown on the floor then.
No, I've not thrown it back.
Well, go and have a look upstairs then. You'll get there. I've completely lost my train of thought. Yes, two at a time socks. So I couldn't work out how to do the toe two at a time to start with, but then I put it onto two at a time. But it's really easy to do the heel two at a time. When I did cuff down two at a time, I had to fiddle about a lot more, swapping needles and stuff, but I didn't with this, so great. So I love those, and I will finish those very, very soon, and I definitely have the sock knitting bug, and I would love to knit more toe-up socks. So yeah, thank you, Jooles, for making it easy and inspiring me to do that. Was there anything else that I wanted to say about those? Oh yes, actually, I just want to talk about the stitch pattern, because I think that's another thing that's kept me knitting on these, is it does have this lovely lace stitch pattern, which is called Old Shale lace or feather and fan lace. Really, really lovely. So yeah, it's a nice, easy pattern to remember as well. It's a 4-row pattern repeat, and it's really nice and easy to remember, and it's only down the front of the sock, including on the legs, so it seems to come up a little bit speedier because you're just knitting on the back rows. You're doing stocking stitch. I have a feeling that when I edit this back, it's just going to be complete garbled nonsense that has absolutely no flow or coherent structure to it whatsoever. Yeah. Just as an aside from the kind of crafting and the knitting at the moment, I'm finding it extremely hard at the moment. Having Eloise at home constantly. The lockdown restrictions have eased a little bit here in the UK, but she is not going back to nursery because her nursery opened again on the 1st of June, and we didn't feel comfortable sending her then because she was only going for 2 days a week anyway, and we just kind of, yeah, we made a decision, and basically I think she's probably now lost her place as a result of that, so she's not going to be going back at all because she starts school in September, and it's just really difficult having her here all the time to get anything done and to be left alone for any length of time. And okay, you know, me filming a podcast, I know that's not exactly superstar parenting or anything, but yeah, it's just hard. Anyway, let's get back on with the what we're supposed to be talking about, which is the crafting. So having had a go at the Soul Sister socks and having knitted them up so quickly and enjoyed them, I am going to try another pair of toe-up socks, and I'm going to have a go at striping them again. So I saw on Instagram earlier on that Emily Clawson, who is, so she is the dyer behind Yarnberry, which is her yarn dyeing company, and she also designs patterns as well. So that's Yarnberry, but she's also on Instagram as Salt City Knits. She is hosting the Yarnberry sock along, so you just pick a sock pattern and you can use her yarn if you wish, and you can use her patterns if you wish, but you don't have to, and it's carrying on, I think, through probably all of July. I'll pop a link to her Instagram post anyway, or her Instagram account, so that you can have a look. So I just thought it would be really nice to join in with that, because if you join in with a knit along or a make along, then it just motivates you to get on with it a little bit more, doesn't it? So I've had a look at some of her patterns, and they're all cuffed down. But what I thought I might do is I might have a go at converting them into toe up. She has a free pattern which is called the Candy Floss Socks, and I will see if I can pop a picture up on the screen of that. And she also has a few different sock patterns which are paid for patterns, and the two that I really like the look of are the Gathering Shell socks, and again I will try and pop a picture up for you to see, and the Francis socks. And the Francis socks are really lovely because they were inspired by and are named after one of her daughters, so I'm thinking about having a go at a pair of those. I don't think it would matter really which one I chose from the point of view of striping and them being scrappy socks, but we'll see. So if I was going to do completely scrappy socks, then I have a bag of smaller amounts of yarn in here that came mainly in my Advent swap, I think, that I did last year. So I could use those, or I could use some other lovely things that I will share with you in the next section for scrappy socks and, you know, colour striping socks. I've just completely lost the plot there, haven't I? So that's one of my plans. The other thing that I am really thinking about doing is Helen Stewart, who is Curious Handmade, has a mystery knit along coming, which I think the first clue is released for, I think it might be a week today, or I've got the 25th of June in my head though, so that wouldn't be a week today, but it's the 20-something of June. She's going to be releasing the first clue in her mystery knit along for a shawl pattern, and it is called the Stillness Shawl, and you need 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn to make it. Lots of the indie yarn dyers out there are doing kits. Beth at Beehive Yarns was doing one which had rose inspired colourways that I really did quite like the look of. Yeah, could I justify getting a kit? Anyway, she's doing a mystery knit along, and I'm in two minds about it really, because I like the idea of it and I like a lot of Helen's shawls, and I know that a 3 skein shawl would be a really nice size, and I do want to try and knit a 3 skein shawl, and I've got plenty of yarns that I could use for that. And okay, you know, I don't even have to use 3 skeins, I could use mini skeins and I could put them into that. So I am thinking about it, but I also don't know whether to take the plunge and take the risk of making something that I'm not going to know what it looks like until I've finished. So she's done some previous mystery shawl knit-alongs before, and one of them I think was called the Impressionists Shawl, which is lovely, but it's not, it doesn't, I don't look at it and think, oh yeah, I really have to knit that. However, the other one that she has done, which is called the Snowmelt Shawl, I think is beautiful. So I'm also thinking about maybe getting that pattern instead of taking part in the mystery knit along. So I'm not quite sure yet which one I would like to join in with, but were I to join in, I have got some beautiful yarns that I could incorporate into it. I've got a skein that I have recently acquired, which I will talk to you about shortly, but these are skeins that I've had for a while, and you know, something like that would look really nice. So this one is Beaches and Birdsong, and it's in the colourway Pebbles, which is nice. And then this is Tracy from Nora George, and this is 1906, which is inspired by a hydrangea plant that she's plant that she's got in her garden. And this I showed you last time, I think, which is Cream Tea by Helen from Giddy Yarns. And I've got minis I could use as well. So yeah, that's the shawl pattern plan-ish. And then the other plan that I have got is something that I am going to be knitting along with lovely Kathy of the Whatnot podcast, who I already spoke about when I was showing you my socks. Now, Kathy and I both really want to knit I don't know whether you say it as Zweig or Zweig. I think it's Zweig, and it's a sweater pattern by Caitlin Hunter, who is Boylan Knitworks. Excuse me. And I will pop a picture up on the screen. Again, this tickle. I don't have COVID, just in case anybody's worried. It's just as soon as I start talking at length, because I haven't had to do that for a while, I seem to get this tickle in my throat. Yes, so the Zweig sweater, it's a paid for pattern, and it's very, very popular. Loads of people have knit different versions of it. So it may well be that you already have the pattern in your possession, or it may be that it's something that's on your wish list. But if you would like to join Kathy and I knitting the Zweig, then we are going to do a kind of a mini knit along. Now, I think at this point, although Kathy and I need to discuss the details a little bit more, excuse me, it's probably going to be a just for fun knit along. We may have a couple of prizes. I need to talk to Kathy about that. And I think we'll probably just do it as a hashtag on Instagram, because I'm not convinced that we'll have enough people wanting to join in to kind of justify having a Ravelry group set up and whatnot. But if you are interested in joining in with the Zweig knit along with Kathy and I, can you let us know? Either leave a comment below or get in touch with me on Instagram if you're planning to join in. And it'd just be nice to have an indication of if anybody else is interested. It may be that there's nobody interested, and Kathy and I are going to knit it anyway. But if you would like to join in, let me know. Excuse me, I am going to use this for the main part of the sweater, which is Drops Baby Alpaca Silk, and it is 70% alpaca, 30% silk, and it is in the colourway, what is it called? It doesn't say on here. I think it's light grey, but it's colour 8108. You see there. So that's what I'm going to use for the main part, and then the kind of the lacy bit and the slight colour work bit across here. I've got a plethora of yarns that I could choose from. I'm thinking, actually, I'm just going down here in my box of bits and bobs. Would it go with those? I don't know. Interesting. Would that be a bit interesting? Or I could maybe go with, don't know, something like this. Anyway, those are my kind of my musings and my thoughts on the Zweig. So if you are interested in joining in with that, do let me know, and then I'll decide whether to do it as a hashtag or whether to set up a Ravelry group. We'll see. So yeah, so that's it kind of for whips and plans, really, because it's only a couple of weeks since I last spoke to you. I haven't got a huge amount of knitting done other than on my socks, and I've been busy doing other things as well, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. So yeah, that's the kind of the whips and plans section for the moment. So let's move on to giveaway winner. So in the last episode I had a giveaway from lovely Karen, who had offered very kindly to gift or to give away 3 patterns of the winner's choice from her lovely selection of mainly kind of baby mitten patterns, actually, which are really, really cute. And I showed pictures of some of those last time, and I asked you to leave a comment underneath with a certain group of words in it, which was something along the lines of love to win, or I'd love to win, or something like that. Anyway, I did a YouTube random comment picker, and the winner is and I'm going to say your name wrong, I'm sure here, Adriana or Adriana Lipsky. So well done to you, and thank you very much for your lovely comments that you left after the last episode. So if you can please get in touch with me, either send me a message on Ravelry or just comment underneath this video and let me know what your Ravelry username is if you are on Ravelry, and then I will get in touch with Karen and I will ask her to send the patterns to you. If you're not on Ravelry, if you could let me have your email address, and then I will ask Karen if she can email you with the copies of the patterns that you would like to have, and you can choose any 3 patterns of your choice from her pattern library on Ravelry. So thank you very much to everyone that entered. I do love to do a giveaway. Yeah, congratulations to Adriana. Please let me know how to say it properly, because I feel really bad when I pronounce people's names incorrectly, but thank you so much for joining in. And that leads me very nicely on to another giveaway, which I did mention on my last episode. So Kathy, when she sent me my sock yarns, also sent me this lovely bundle of yarns here. Now, these are, I would say these are slightly, or they appear to be slightly more solid in the skeins, but when you look at them closely, you can see that they have got some lovely speckles in them. So you've got this really lovely green one here, which has got different shades of green in it. There's this peachy one, and you've got some, are they purple? Yeah, you've got purple speckles in there. I don't know how well you can see that. There's also this, that's not going to come up properly on the screen, is it? It's like a sort of a pinky peachy red with brown undertones, and then there's some orangey speckles in here as well. Where were we? Yeah, so you've got this one here, and then there's a yellow which has got kind of goldy tones in it and creams, and then this one is a beige with, you've got kind of red speckles and blue speckles. So they are beautiful, beautiful yarns. And so there's 5 skeins in here, and they are 20 grams each, 80 meters, and the yarn composition is 85% merino and 15% nylon. And there is Kathy's label, Whatnot by Kathy, and also with that you're going to get a lovely stitch marker that Kathy has hand painted herself. So it's a wooden heart, and you can see on the back, hand painted by Kathy, and there you go, beautiful flowers to coordinate with the yarns, and that's got a really nice big kind of hook on it there. So it should fit really comfortably onto lots of different sizes of needles. So this is going to be the giveaway for this episode. I know you normally have giveaways for so many subscribers or for certain events, but do you know, I'm just having this giveaway just because, really, because, you know, it's so lovely to be part of this community, and it would be lovely to give this away to somebody. So this is going to be open to anybody, anywhere in the world. You do need to be a subscriber to the channel, but then how am I going to check if you're a subscriber to the channel? I'm gonna, in good faith, I'm going to believe that you are a subscriber to the channel. So if you would like to enter, please leave a comment below, and this time I thought it would be a little bit easier if I gave you a hashtag to put in. So I'm going to put a hashtag on the screen, and the hashtag is going to be giveaway, okay? So I'm just going to, if you put hashtag giveaway within your comments somewhere, then hopefully I should be able to select a winner. And I'm going to leave that open until my next episode, until I film my next episode. I don't know when exactly that might be. It'll probably be around the 2-week mark, but it could be a little bit longer. When I close the giveaway, I do change in the title of the video to the fact that, and I sort of say giveaway now closed. So if you would like to enter the giveaway to win this, I mean, it is beautiful yarn, and it's got a twist on it as well. And you can see from my socks that you get really beautiful stitch definition. So yeah, you would be extremely lucky to win this yarn. So if you want to enter, leave me a comment below. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, to my channel, and leave a comment which contains #giveaway in it somewhere, and I will draw a winner before I film the next episode. And also, it would be really lovely if you are entering the giveaway, if you could go over to Instagram and you could maybe go and follow Kathy or check some of her posts and share some of her posts or something, because her yarn really is beautiful and she's an excellent watercolourist as well. So that is the giveaway. So I had thought this was going to be a slightly shorter episode today, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Right, let's move on to some yarn. Now then, I didn't show you these when I was talking about my half-baked plans because I wanted to show them to you now. So on last Saturday, it was supposed to be the Wool Monty Festival in Sheffield, and obviously that's not gone ahead for obvious reasons. Lovely Helen from Giddy Yarns was supposed to be exhibiting there and obviously couldn't, so she had a special shop update kind of to celebrate the Wool Monty, even though it wasn't going ahead. And because I'm now a lover of stripy socks, I decided to treat myself to a couple of her mini skein bundles. So this one is her Bedtime Stories collection mini skein bundle, and I'm going to put a picture up on the screen of the two mini skein bundles that I've got because I don't think the lighting in here is particularly brilliant. But you've got this one here, which is kind of blue tones, and then you've got this one, whoops, I've got, excuse me, a piece of hair involved in that. You've got the green toned one here, you've got pink, you've got peachy beigey, and then you've got this one here. Now, if I could actually remember the names of all of these, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? Because Helen does full skeins of all of these. I know that that one is George's Marvellous Medicine. I know that that one, well, I'm now doubting myself, is the Sea of Adventure. This one is the Secret Garden. This one is the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I hope I've got those two the right way round. And this one is the Railway Children. Yes, I remembered all of them. I won't remember what they're all called on the other one, but she does do them all as full skeins. So if you do like the look of those and are interested in any of those, go and have a look on Helen's website. She has full skeins. The mini skeins have sold out, but she does have full skeins of all of these colourways, and she has them on different bases as well. And I love Helen's yarns. I think her colour palette is just, it's really beautiful. Pastel colours are really my thing. So those are the Bedtime Stories ones. And then she also had a Flower Fairies collection. So I've got those here, and I'm not going to remember all of these, she says, or am I? This is the Lavender Fairy, I know, because originally I was contemplating getting a full skein of this and I didn't because I couldn't then choose between all of the colourways. So that's the Lavender Fairy. This one I think is the Daisy Fairy. This one I know is the Acorn Fairy. This one is the Cornflower Fairy, which leaves this one, and I can't remember, it might be called the Primrose Fairy, but again, these are all on Helen's website, so if you go and have a look at those, if you're interested, and yeah, so I was really pleased with those. And the other purchase that I made a couple of weeks ago, but it hadn't arrived when I filmed my last podcast because I hadn't long ordered it, is from lovely Becky at Back to Blighty. And this is Becky's yarn here, and this is 80% BFL, 20% nylon, so it has got a nice twist on it. 100 grams, 365 meters, and the colorway is the Lady of Shalott. And again, I will see if I can put a photograph up on the screen of this so that you can see the colors better. Becky has got an Etsy shop, so if you are interested in her yarns, you can go and have a look there. She does some Outlander inspired colors. She has sock sets as well, kind of 50 grams and 20 grams, and she has just done a beautiful lace weight colorway called the, I think it's called the Enchanted Forest, which I'm very, very tempted by, and yeah, she's got a podcast as well, actually. So go and check Becky out. And Becky always sends a lovely tea bag with her orders. So whenever you open the package, it smells lovely. And it's also wrapped in beautiful tissue paper. I think I've had stuff from Becky wrapped in flamingo tissue before, and kind of tropical leaves. So yeah, that's Becky at Back to Blighty. And so this is another one that might be nice featuring in a shawl, were I to decide to join in with that. So that is my yarny goodness, and I did actually treat myself last night to some yarn from Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit Yarns, who I'd not come across before. And I came across them on Instagram, and they do some lovely colourways, so I'll share those with you next time. So that is the end of the kind of crafty, yarny, projecty stuff. So now I'm going to tell you about a very exciting shop news. So if you don't want to have a listen to the shop news, then that's perfectly fine. I understand that. So if you do want to switch off now, thank you very much for spending a little bit of time with me. And if you do want to hang around to listen to my shop news, then yeah, stay with me. Right, I'm just going to switch off because I'm going to check that my daughter is okay in the next room watching the television, and then I will come back. Okay, so shop news now. I mentioned in my last episode about that I was thinking about maybe making some bags to sell in an Etsy shop, and lots of you commented and said that you would really like that. It sounded like a really good idea, and that is something that I'm still thinking about doing. However, having the time to do that to the kind of level and at the quality that I would want to do it at the moment is proving very difficult because I have Eloise here. So maybe when she starts school in September, I might just do some small batches of project bags and put them in my Etsy shop. And you know me, there's going to be a ramble here before we get to the point, isn't there? So the name of my channel is Stitch Create Love, and for those of you who don't know, that's also the name of the local business that I set up last year. I think it was about this time last year, and I was teaching sewing to people locally, kind of in Cheshire where I live, through classes and one-to-one tuition. And when I came up with the name of that business, I was very, very conscious that might not always be the kind of direction or the area that I wanted the business to be in, because for years and years and years I have wanted to find a way where I could make some form of income, whether it was kind of pocket money or whether it was income that could go towards, you know, things to treat my family or whatever. I'd been looking for ways where I could make some form of income out of crafting / making / creating, because I came quite late in life to the realization that creativity is incredibly important to me for my mental health. It's incredibly important to me for a number of different reasons, and it brings me an incredible amount of joy, and it brings an incredible amount of joy to the people around me as well. So when I was thinking up a name for my business and kind of coming up with the branding, I didn't want to limit myself to, you know, sewing school, teaching sewing. So sewing was never part of the name, but what was the common thread that drew everything together that I enjoyed doing was stitching. So that's where stitch came from. Create came from the creativity, and love came from the joy that it brings to me and the love that I put into every single thing that I make. So Stitch Create Love, that was the name that I came up with, and my branding was very, very simple. It was just a colour that I love, and the kind of the text, my Stitch Create Love, actually is a zigzag stitch that you would find on a sewing machine. So that's kind of where all of that came from. And when I first started my channel, or shortly after I started my channel, I said that I was going to do tutorials, sewing tutorials, and I did a couple of those, and then lockdown happened, and so the tutorials have been parked. And I am hoping that when Eloise goes to school in September that I can start doing some tutorials again, because I really enjoyed doing that. And you know, I'm a qualified teacher, primary school teacher, but you know, I'm a qualified teacher. The skill of teaching is something that I have because I'm qualified to do it, and I enjoy doing the tutorials. But at the moment I can't teach people face to face, I can't teach people online, and I was kind of thinking, well, what could I do? So what could I make at home? And I was having a sort out, told you this was going to be rambly, didn't I? I was having a sort out of a few things, and many, many years ago, I used to do jewellery making as a hobby. It wasn't something that I ever, you know, decided to sell. It was just stuff for me and gifts for family and friends. And then, you know, as happens, life gets in the way, and then that all stopped. And when I was having a sort out, I came across the kind of all the supplies that I had that I'd used in the jewellery making. So I had lots of different sorts of beads. I had lots of genuine gemstone beads, all kind of semi-precious stuff. You know, we're not talking rubies and sapphires here. You know, quartzes and agate and tiger's eye and pearls. So all of these things, and I had lots of findings. And I thought, oh, I could use those to make some stitch markers, and maybe if, you know, I'm happy with the results, maybe I could put those into an Etsy shop. So I have been beavering away over the last few weeks, and I have been making progress keepers and stitch marker sets, and I've had to kind of order in a few more supplies. What I had available wasn't enough, so you know, there's lots of different bits and bobs that I've put together. And rather than me sit here and try and hold things up to the camera and have them not focus, because that's just annoying, isn't it? I'll put some photographs up of some of the things that I have made. And then last night, I having spent the week battling with photographs and lighting and IT and Etsy fees, so confusing, I had put together a selection of listings, and I opened my Etsy shop, and I opened it around about kind of dinner time, tea time, whatever you want to call it, yesterday evening. And you know, I expected that I might get maybe 1 or 2 orders over the weekend. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that I have had orders at all. I cannot believe that some things have already sold out. I cannot believe that people are putting their kind of trust and, you know, their hard-earned money into purchasing products that I have made. And I have absolutely loved designing and making them, and I really have enjoyed putting a story behind some of the items, and I've got so many ideas for other things that I want to do. So if you are interested in having a look, then please do go over to my Etsy shop and have a look at what I've got available. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll also find out when I'm adding new stuff. I have had people asking me before, when I've done the tutorials, you know, is there a way that I can kind of support what you're doing? And I suppose, you know, if you want to support the podcast, if you want to support the tutorials, then that would be an absolutely great way to support me. And you know, a progress keeper, it's a very kind of, it's a small purchase, but every kind of order makes a massive difference to me, and it's just, it brings me such joy that you like and are enjoying the things that I am making. And if you're not, you know, if that's not your thing, and you know, if that's fine, then maybe just think about sharing it on social media, or sharing it with somebody else that you think might like those things. I'm hoping that going forward I can add to certainly the kind of stitch marker and progress keeper designs. I'm also hoping that I can add some other things which I've made involving my sewing. I've got some lavender bags which I'd really like to put in. So I've got lots and lots of ideas. Everything in there at the moment is, using silver tone findings, but I have got some rose gold tone findings coming. Findings being, you know, like the kind of the metally bits that are not the beads, basically. So I'm going to be doing some rose gold coloured progress keepers, and I've got lots and lots of ideas for kind of the inspiration behind sets that I'd like to put together. So yeah, so if you would like to have a look, then you'd be very welcome to do so. And I just want to say thank you very much to everybody that has already placed an order, to everybody that has already shared, that has already spread the word. It means so much. I've said before on this podcast that I feel incredibly privileged to be part of such a friendly and supportive community of people. I am somebody who doubts everything they do. I am somebody who worries about everything. I have spoken on here before about my anxiety, about postnatal anxiety. I'm somebody that has kind of, I've struggled in a lot of ways in life, and I'm incredibly lucky. You know, I have so many good things, I have so many good people around me, but sometimes I think we all need a little bit of extra support, and being part of this community really does give me that. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart to each and every one of you that watches, that comments, to everybody that's supporting my shop. It means so very much to me. So yeah, I'm going to stop there because I feel like I'm going to get too gushy and get emotional in a minute. But thank you so much. And I think it would probably be as well to end it there, because I've got a little person over here waving a bag around at me. Where on earth have you had that from? Do you want to come and say hello?
Daddy.
Do you want to come and say hello? Here we go. Come and sit down.
Mummy, I wanted to show you something, and I'm keeping them all safe in my bag.
If you have a look in there. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
I'm gonna wave. This is my, are you my helper? Or are you my companion, my friend? What are you? My little crafty friend. So I'm going to say goodbye now, because we are going to, what we're going to do you think now? What we're going to do now?
Do some crafting.
Oh, don't knock that, because you're kicking the stool that the camera's resting on and everybody will be moving around. So apparently we're now going to go and do some crafting together, because we've got something special to make for Sunday, haven't we? What do we need to make?
A Father's Day card, but it's a secret.
Yes, shh, it's a secret. We better not tell anybody. Are you going to say thank you very much for watching to everybody?
Thank you very much for watching.
Are you going to wave bye-bye and say see you next time?
See you next time.
Bye-bye.